Hello, welcome to this presentation. So in this presentation I am going to talk about some transforms. In particular I am going to start with the discrete time Fourier transform. Now with regard to the discrete time Fourier transform, you are already familiar that if you consider LTI systems, then there is a reasonable degree of familiarity and a reasonable degree of connection with the DTFT. That is, suppose that you have Hn, which is the impulse response of an LTI system. Then you know this interesting fact: whenever you give input e power j omega 0 n, that is, if this is convolved with Hn, then you know that the resulting output, if you write the convolution equation, will turn out to be minus infinity h of k e power minus j omega 0 k multiplied by e power minus j omega 0 n, which means that whenever you input a complex exponential to an LTI system, the output will be the same complex exponential scaled by a constant. Notice that this is a complex constant and it does not depend on n. So for every value of n, this is the multiplier that multiplies e power j omega 0 n. Of course, it is a function of omega 0, and this, it turns out, is our DTFT, the discrete time Fourier transform, evaluated at omega naught. Okay, but this seems like an indirect way to introduce the discrete time Fourier transform. But this is one important motivation, because the discrete time Fourier transform is an essential tool for our analysis of signals and systems. So to that end, let's actually observe what this is. Okay, so let's first look at this as a mathematical formula. We are essentially saying h of summation h of k e power minus j omega k runs from minus infinity to infinity, and we are giving this the name h of e power j omega. Before we look at the properties or anything of the sort, if this is the DTFT, what is the condition for this to exist? Meaning that, what is the condition so that whenever you plug in a value of omega inside, this summation turns out to be a reasonable number, a finite number or something like that? Because an important property of all of these transforms is convergence. So in other words, we are saying, for what types of signals does it have a reasonable value for all values of omega? That seems like a reasonable question to ask. Now, when you did your analysis of the LTI systems in the previous few videos, remember that we spoke about this concept of stability. Okay, stability means bounded input, bounded output. Okay, that is something which you remember. Now, notice that if this is actually the picture which I showed you here, is that e power j omega 0 n is given as an input to an LTI system whose impulse response is h of n. Now, e power j omega 0 n is the complex exponential, periodic complex exponential, that satisfies the property that mod e power j omega 0 n is equal to 1. So it's definitely a bounded input. So if we demand that the DTFT of a signal has to be bounded, then that is, in other words, see, it's like this. Whenever I give you a signal, think of it as the impulse response of an LTI system. We want to find its DTFT. What is the condition for it to be stable? For it to be a finite value? The condition is the same as saying if you give the input as e power j omega 0 n to a system whose impulse response is h of n, the value will be finite, in fact bounded, if that is, if summation of hn from minus infinity to infinity is finite, then this is a guarantee that the DTFT exists and is finite. For all values of omega. Okay, I'll talk about that, for values of omega naught, let's say. Okay, so this means that whenever a sequence satisfies absolute summability, the DTFT always exists. So in other words, absolute summability, remember this carefully, absolute summability is a sufficient condition for the DTFT to exist. That is, when a sequence is absolutely summable, it is guaranteed that the DTFT exists and is finite for all values of omega. But it is not necessary. Okay. Now there are some very minute conditions. For example, you can come with some examples of sequences or signals which are not absolutely summable, yet you can define a DTFT for them. We'll give a few examples, but in general, absolute summability is a sufficient condition, not necessary. Remember the difference between sufficient and necessary. If you have a sequence which is absolutely summable, definitely DTFT exists. If a sequence is not absolutely summable, it may or may not have a DTFT. Okay? Okay, fine. This is basically very technical because we just plugged it into the formula. But let's look at this h of e power j omega. Okay, so what can you see over here? The first thing is we are writing it directly as h of e power j omega. And you know that e power j omega is periodic with period 2 pi, which means that h of e power j omega is also always periodic with period 2 pi. Of course, it may have a lesser period than that, but 2 pi is definitely a period, meaning if you evaluate it for omega plus 2 pi, you will get the same thing. Now, why is that? We will connect this with the sampling theorem and come back, but right now from the formula, e power j omega is cos omega plus j sin omega, and you know that both cos and sin are periodic with period 2 pi. So, e power j omega is always periodic with period 2 pi. Okay. Next, what does this h of e power j omega mean? For that, we will have many pictures. One picture is this LTI system picture. Whenever you input a frequency omega naught, that is e power j omega naught is a complex exponential with frequency omega naught. Whenever you input this to an LTI system, the output will always be the same frequency. Now, if you think of it like, your audio equalizer, you can, for example, you want to increase the bass, you want to reduce the treble, something like that. What we are saying is that this DTFT essentially tells you the measure of the bass and treble in various parts of your signal because it's a frequency. And an LTI system, if your equalizer is an LTI system, can only increase or decrease the amplitude of certain parts of your signal. It will never introduce new frequencies. In fact, that is an important property of linear time invariant systems. They do not ever introduce new frequencies. If the input is e power j omega naught n, output has to be e power j omega naught n multiplied by a scale. The scale can be 0, but it never gives you e power j omega naught prime. So then the DTFT is a measure of the frequency content. Okay, so let's now have a look at what it looks like. Okay, so if you have a DTFT, something like this, let's say I draw something like this. Okay, let's say this is minus pi and this is pi. First off, it's periodic. it's periodic with period 2 pi, which means that there's another copy which lies to the side. Okay, so actually yeah, I'll do this and then I'll just erase that part. Okay, there's a copy which lies here. There's a copy which lies here. This is pi, this is 3 pi, and so on. Okay, and then another copy over here, and so on. Now notice that it appears that the DTFT is periodic. If you recall from signals and systems, when you have a periodic signal, what can you do with it? You can always compute its Fourier series. So in fact, this is an exercise I am leaving for you. If you compute the Fourier series coefficients of the DTFT considered as a continuous time signal, they will be very related to the original time domain sequence. Okay, this is something which you should definitely do. Okay, this is periodic, but notice that we are only looking at minus pi to pi, and then beyond pi again it starts repeating. So in other words, the principal branch, or rather the most important all the data, is present between minus pi and pi. Notice that I am actually excluding pi because minus pi and pi are the same point. What is the physical interpretation of this? Okay, so this is something we will cover in the next video. Okay, so to summarize, what is the discrete time Fourier transform? It is a transformation of your discrete time signal. It gives a notion of frequency. Okay, that is a number between minus pi and pi. Frequency is a number between minus pi and pi, and that is something which measures the degree of periodicity, or rather the degree of variation present in your signal. For a more concrete notion of this, we will see in the next video. Okay, thanks.